So we'd like to put 2 hand washing sinks in the health department and put wood vinyl planking in 3 of the offices. 2 of the offices will be patient rooms. We're gonna start doing, doing blood draws for TB testing, STD testing, and lead testing. Right now we have no hand washing at all. Okay, so to run the plumbing, it's gonna be pretty intense to have that done. So we're asking to use $15,000 of some old grant money to have all the work done.
You work with Larry?
Yes, and they're looking. We haven't got a quote yet for the labor, but it's going to be a big job because there's no water at all on that side of the building, but the bathrooms are closed, so it's gonna be a lot of labor.
But you do have money in your budget to cover all this
Yes.
that's already allocated. So it's
Have
just
full
about-
grant money. Okay, and just to let you guys know, last year, they approved us to hire a contracted, emergency preparedness person, and that person will be Ken Boswell, and he actually started in January, so we're thankful. I am very, very thankful. So,
Well, you don't have any sinks in there currently, do you, in your
No.
health department?
none. Yes.
We'll have to run the water above the ceiling. As well as the sewer, I'm assuming, waste, no stools, no toilets.
No, just hand washing.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve, the spending for the health department for flooring and sinks.
2 hand sinks, planking, vanilla planking wood, approximately $15,000. You're taking it from an old grant?
Yes,
instead,
yes.
Okay, as well as the plumbing involved with that. So, I'll second that. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tasha, you're next.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So what I've got to talk about tonight, Teresa does have the U.S.D.A. grant that I had emailed you guys to sign. I'm not sure with the county attorney if we're gonna be able to finish that tonight, but Teresa does have it in her hands to look at for you guys to possibly sign today. That was for the ambulance that we just received. That'd be their reimbursement from the U.S.D.A. grant that we received.
The full amount.
It's the full amount in what they agreed initially. We can't get any more than what they initially agreed on.
What was that amount?
$303,424.08.
Thank you.
Did also want to talk about the ambulances and status. You guys did ask me to email that report. Were you able to review that?
I did not, no. I received it and then, I don't think you looked at it.
No, you sent that today.
Last night, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we received it, so thank you.
We got locked out of our accounts. Did you get locked out of yours?
That doesn't surprise me. Essentially, what has happened is that ambulance that did need repair, we have found the parts, so that will be able to be repaired at this time. Going forward with the new quotes, the lowest that I've received is for a remount quote. Other than that, a lot of them are not prepared at this time, so we'll show you those documents, and I will be emailing you many more. The last thing that I have for today is to discuss a new phone line for E.M.S. Specifically, it would be a recorded line for our transfer service to make sure that I can review and do all the quality control, make sure that our staff and the hospital staff are communicating effectively. At this time, when they do call, if no one is at the base due to being on a 911 call, it actually goes to my voicemail. So if I don't catch it, then the hospital's wondering why we didn't call them back. So I want to make sure that we have a designated transfer line. From what I understand, they have 2 lines available. Teresa did want me to bring this forward in front of the 2 of you to talk about.
The Natasha, before you took over, you worked for the service, so how did that work before?
It works as it currently works now. They call the Winnemac base. So if no one's at the Winnemac base due to being on a transfer or being out on a 911 call, it just goes to my voicemail or the director's voicemail. So that Francisville line doesn't ring. So I would like to make sure that we have a designated transfer phone line. That way when that specific phone number rings, they know it is for a transfer. That way myself and or our captains can answer knowing that it is in regards to a transfer that needs to go out.
Anything else?
No, that's it for me. Thank you.
Would you like to make a motion for the, Natasha, was the U.S.D.A. grant approved prior?
Yeah, I will make a motion to approve the phone line for E.M.S. for transfer calls.
I'll second that. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
And just for public comment, the U.S.D.A. grant was worked on by the last set of commissioners. However, somebody did retire from the U.S.D.A., so it is now fallen to this set of commissioners. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Jenny, you're on.
Yeah. Just updates on industrial solar, battery energy storage. And I had a meeting that I wanted to briefly discuss. First of all, on the issue of battery energy storage systems, I'm seeing some more conversation happen in the county, which is a huge plus, and I won't call you out, but we had a resident who sent an email to all the commissioners in regards to battery energy storage systems, and I just want to recognize that we do have people in our community that we can call on, which is great when we start discussing these large-scale battery energy storage systems. And I think I would love to see the community work together in addition with the commissioners to bring a lot of this information so that we can really lay it out on the table and we've got some expertise. So that's a positive sign. Keep emailing, keep letting us know where your areas of expertise are, please. I had a meeting last week with Senator Jim Banks's regional director in Indiana. It was a good meeting. He came over from Fort Wayne to tour White County, what's going on with renewable energies there, and then he went to Jasper County, had someone there take him around and show him everything, and then he started in Pulaski County. But because we didn't have anything to show at the time, we just had a conversation. So he did say, he had never seen solar on such a scale as what he saw in White and Jasper. The density of the solar was concerning to him. He did say Banks at this time is not a supporter of large-scale industrial solar. We talked a little bit about property taxes. That came up at our last meeting, and he did say, I said, what do you see happening with that? And he said, well, because of the jump during COVID with our property values, everything skyrocketed, and it just, a lot of people were alarmed. So he said what he believes is going to happen, and he's one person, but coming from Senator Banks's office, he said he believes the property taxes will continue to slowly increase. They will make sure that it slowly increases. There will be a limit, and that eventually there may be a cap on those, but he did not see those being reduced, which, again, it's one person, but it was good to talk to him on that. He was concerned, he did say communities are built by people. It's people that make communities, and that if all of this is laid down, it is a concern for the county that we are losing people, because people bring the money in. And of course, I agree with that as well. And he did say it would be a huge net cost to the state as well. Project updates, and I've just learned tonight, I've not gotten any updates on industrial solar in the county and what's currently going on. I was concerned because I got a call a few days ago in the morning, and one of the companies had trespassed onto a person's property that was not involved in the solar project, and of course that led to calling the sheriff's department and having somebody come out from there. So I'm concerned at this point. I don't know when these projects are starting. I'm seeing a little bit, and Don, you may be able to speak to that a little bit more, but if they are happening, and I know we have Jenny Monroe, is she here tonight? Jenny Monroe is with V.S., and she's supposed to be kind of the liaison communicator between the solar companies and us as commissioners, and then we are to delegate to her or let her know what we expect. Don and I have already, right before the meeting, he mentioned that he had spoken with her, and we do need to set up, and we will be setting up some type of communication line for the people in the county. We need something for the buses, whether the county needs to know when these large gravel trucks start rolling in, where they're gonna be. If we've got a fog delay, and as a superintendent, I know you understand that. If we have a fog delay and we have all these gravel trucks running up and down these county roads, we've got some serious security and safety issues for the public. So we need some type of website or some type of communication to update the community on where all of this is going, what roads are gonna be used, and where we are in the project. So I was hoping she'd be here to speak to that just a little bit tonight, but as well as a timeline for the project construction. Tomorrow, I will be attending the Association of Indiana Counties legislative conference to receive updates from our top Indiana officials. And I'll also be testifying against House Bill 1628. If you haven't heard of House Bill 1628, I want to let you know what's going on, because you've got tonight to make your voices heard. If House Bill 1628 is passed, it would mean that a person wanting to locate or construct any multi-jurisdictional project does not need to obtain any local permits or zoning permissions from local county authorities. So basically, these large renewable energy systems will be able to be built anywhere, probably so long as they have permission from a property owner. I am a strong supporter of local control and home rule. They've tried this a few years ago, it did not pass, but as more and more counties are setting limitations to the amount of renewables they want in their county, certain individuals are getting more aggressive to try and just remove that home rule so that these can be sited anywhere they want to put them. So if you would, I'm asking you to email and just give your side, whether you're for it or against it. Let our state legislators know, and the people who are proposing this bill, where you stand on this, because this could have major impacts on counties all across Indiana. And this would include infrastructure, gases, so we're talking probably the carbon sequestration, electricity, and water, and in my opinion would be an extreme overreach of our state government. Just as the state doesn't like the federal government telling them what to do, local government really wants to keep the control at home. Finally, and we've all been waiting to see where Trump stands on, we know where he stands on wind. He's recently made statements about industrial solar. Anybody that's had at least one eye open since he took office, should understand that he's making changes at warp speed in the nation. And in issuing the order for the emergency declaration, Trump did say, the United States' insufficient energy production, transportation, refining, and generation constitutes an unusual and extraordinary threat to our nation's economy, national security, and foreign policy. He blamed the harmful short-sighted policies of the Biden administration, and in defining what constitutes energy, he did leave out two renewable forms, wind and solar. As a rural community whose economy is heavily built on agriculture, I think as commissioners we should be very careful where we're going to be putting the next batch of eggs. Because while it's important to protect individual property rights, we have an even greater responsibility to protect our county first. So I just wanted to update you on that, and that's all I have.
Moving on with other business, the claims, payroll 1, 2, and 3, I have reviewed those and I would make a motion to approve those.
I will second.
Those in favor say aye. Minutes from the January 21st, 2025 regular meeting.
I've read over those as well. And I make a motion to approve the minutes from the January 21st, 2025 meeting.
Good, I'll second that. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Resolution 2025-3, designate signatory for grant applications, documents for highway. This resolution allows the president of the board, at the time at which any grant application is being submitted, shall be authorized to sign such applications and any related documents on behalf of the board. In the event that the president is incapacitated or otherwise absent from the meeting at which the submission of a grant application is approved, the vice president of the board shall be authorized to sign such application on behalf of the board. This is kind of a normal resolution, but we've never had one before, so it will cover us for an extended period of time. I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
I will second that motion.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you. Next is a recommendation for Resolution 2025-4, approving work locations for soil water if federal government shuts down. Last time an individual came and requested that we designate a spot. After conversation, basically the employees of the Pulaski County will be directed to work from the office in the Pulaski County Highway Garage.
I will make a motion to approve the resolution for approving work location for soil and water to the county garage should the federal government shut down.
And I'll second that. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Guess that would be 0. So, appoint of Al Breifogel to the Pulaski County Economic Development Commission, which was recommended to do that. I'll recommend Al Breifogel to be a Pulaski County Economic Development, on the Economic Development Commission.
I will second that motion.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next, we have approve and sign bonds for our coroner, Jennifer, which would be $30,000, and building inspector Carla for $15,000.
I will make a motion to approve and sign the bonds for Jennifer Johns and Carla Redwick.
I'll second that. In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Conference request, we have 2 conference requests for Auditor Wheeler to the tax sales seminar in Carmel, and Veterans Affairs Roy to attend the Northwest District quarterly training. I'll make a motion to approve both conferences.
I'll second the motion.
I'll second that. Those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
It's all right. Next is discussion, approve prosecutor's $5,000 claim for 2 flock cameras through the sheriff's department.
What are flock cameras?
Yep.
There's back up there on
Chris?
with the request.
What are the flock cameras? What are flock cameras?
Block cameras, we have 8 of them. We have an agreement with the prosecutor's office that they will buy 2 of them, which makes 10 surround, or placed around the camera. They read license plates as they go through, stolen vehicles,
Oh, okay.
silver alerts, amber alerts, all that kind of stuff. So
Okay.
very well with somebody.
We've actually caught people in Pulaski County that had
Yes.
warrants, felonies outside of the
I'm
state.
not gonna tell you where they're at either.
No. Good idea. So, I think it'd be a very good investment. Let's continue that.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2 flock cameras for the sheriff's department.
I'll second that. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next is council RX help.
Okay, so the reason they're wanting to cancel the RX help, and what had happened back years ago, when we had Cigna, we did not have any help with, the county employees did not have any help with when they had major bills for prescriptions. So now that we're with Anthem, we do. So, and nobody's using this RX help, and unfortunately, it's costing the county, it's like $50 a person. So, we had a meeting, John and I, last week with Epic, our broker, and they said that if nobody's using it, we might as well cancel that part of it, because there's actually already an RX help, or it's called Carelon, embedded in the Anthem program. So we don't need this RX help, so, we're just asking to go ahead and send them a letter telling them that we're not gonna pay them anymore, because they're not helping us any. Yeah, nobody's using that.
So I'll make a motion to cancel the RX help.
I'll approve, or I'll second that motion.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Couple items that I'd like to state. First of all, our V.S. organization that was hired in December, there was an organization meeting that took place. So they're talking with the proper channels here in the county, as well as those that have permits and working on that. So V.S. is working. As time goes on, as we get going, we have plans of putting some information on the website for public to see the correspondence and what is going on with that. There'll be more to announce as time goes on with that. As Teresa said, we had a health insurance meeting with Epic, which is our insurance carrier, and they have Anthem. April 1st is our renewal date. They'll be putting bids, prices out, finding out prices for us. I think it's very important to know that we're fully funded. We're not self-insured, we're fully funded. And they'll be putting some prices together for us. They'll be looking back at what is called the rolling 12 to see what kind of claims that we've had. So they'll be working on that. There's also a technology meeting with Rowing, who we contract with. That was very helpful. Cybersecurity, as we all know, is a large issue. So the county has moved to a two-step authentication program with that. Rowing also stressed the importance of our departments working with them to make sure the technology that is purchased within our departments, they work with their specs and it works within our technology system in our county. So we appreciate Rowing and explaining with that. Also, we have several Verizon phones within and technology in the county that's managed through the Sheriff's Department, because they have the largest number. We appreciate the efforts of the Sheriff's Department going through that. They were able to determine there were several phones that were not being used, and they were worked with the account manager, so I appreciate the Sheriff's Department. So we've reduced some of our costs through Verizon with that. So thank you for the Sheriff's Department for that. So at this time, we'll have an opportunity for public comment. We ask that you state your name, residence. We ask for you to speak for 2 minutes or less, and we ask that you only speak once. At this time, is there anyone for public comment? Step on up to the mic, please.
I'll choose First Sucker, live in Winnemucca, Indiana. And so I'm kind of wondering why in this commissioners meeting, we are listening to a particular viewpoint, which is not shared by the whole county as far as solar goes. And I'd also like to know what permit was authorized for an industrial solar farm, because as far as I know, they're only utility solar farms. And as far as Max Engling goes, he worked policy for 6 months. He's not a lifelong farmer. He is not a landowner in any project. And his words of concerning, perhaps that could be because he only had information from a particular point of view, and any questions he may or may not have had went unanswered because the expert or someone who could answer it wasn't there to help him discuss what is concerning. And also, the big thing, even on his own website, he talks about he doesn't like the fact that the federal government was expanding into all areas of life. Well, isn't part of the conservative view is that they don't want government in their business? And yet what solar Jennifer wants is to do exactly that. Wants exactly oversight into any landowners property rights, and that is completely the opposite of what I understand the Republican Party to stand for. And it is my belief, this is personal, but it is my belief that regardless of the outcome, unless it's exactly what Jennifer and her handler, who's not here, wants, they're going to sue. And the first suit, which Jennifer was a party to, cost the county almost $300,000. We want ambulances, we want services, $200,000 to $300,000. But there was a cost to it. The county had to pay lawyer fees. Their name was on it. I have public documents to prove that. And so it'll be yet another problem. And frankly, you know, this idea that we have to revisit it after 5 years, no, we're not revisiting it because it's 5 years. We're revisiting it simply because Jennifer was fortunate enough to be elected to the commissioner's office. And of those 29,000 or so or less or whatever acres that have been appropriated for leases, not solar farms, but leases, not one of them is a constituent that she represents. And just want to keep it that way.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comments? Step up to the mic, please.
Hello, my name is Dennis Pope. I'll talk so you can hear me. My name is Dennis Pope. I live on the northern side of the county, 750 north, 300 west. And what I see is that we have two teams here. We have the anti-solars and we have the farmers who want property rights. And so, as you know, I was a referee for many years. If you would walk into a conversation with two referees talking, and one referee would say, I will never let that team win. I'm going to call everything against, I will never make calls for them. And the other ref says, well, I want to play a fair game. I ask you, Jennifer, it's like you're one of the referees. Will you ever say something good about property rights and solars? So as a referee, you wouldn't want to be a referee, and your job now is to be a referee for the two teams. All of us are kind of standing on what we believe. Those of us who are landowners and those of us who are against solar. And there's a lot of innuendo, and there's some specific rules when you referee. Do your best you can for both sides, for both teams, because you represent both teams. But I don't mean anything personal, but I've never seen anything that you said for the other team. It's always been the anti-solar. Okay? So this county, wouldn't it be nice if you could come to a meeting and we would be on the same page, we'd live in unity? And that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for land rights. I'm hoping for no restrictions. And I'm hoping that you can be the best referee you can be. If not, if somebody heard me say that as an athletic director, he'd say, sir, I don't want you refereeing this game because you can't call fair for both teams. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Logan Weetrick, Pulaski County, Francisville to be exact. I'm a landowner on the other side of the team, I guess, as it's put. Land ownership is much larger than how much you have, even if you have a half acre in town to 10,000 acres in the country. I just want to say that you'll never hear Trump support Biden and his policies, so being a referee is not what politics is about. It's about representing the people first and foremost and understanding your constituents, how the county lies. Jenny, you voiced your opinion on, and you don't have to answer these questions because I know that's not this time. Jenny, you voiced your opinion on the House bill that's going to remove local legislation Don, if you're willing to answer this question, would you be willing to answer how you feel about state control taking county choice? Okay, well, I would ask that if you are not opposed to that, then the question would be why would you sit in the commissioner's seat and be elected to do and to make decisions for the county if you want to roll over and let those things happen? So that's all I have to say. We can't let the state government tell us what we can do. We know our demographics, we know our population, we know what works in our county and what doesn't. And we just can't let the state try to take that over. Everything's unique, everything's individual. And I would just ask that you make that phone call if you haven't yet, down to the state to oppose that, because we can't let them have control.
Thank you.
Thanks for letting us be here today. My name is Levi Messer, and I live out in the country on 300, close to Francisville. Son Silas Messer, and I'm gonna go off my notes because I don't want to get emotional and say something wrong. But it's already been alluded to there being two sides. I think that's been too much in Pulaski County. It's been like that way too long. And personally, I want to tell everyone in the room, no matter where you stand, on any side, on any issue, that I love you. And I think I'm called by Christ to love you. And that goes for everyone in this room. It's strange to be in this room in a certain way because I remember the first time I was in this room was for a 4-H meeting, and I met several friends in this room, and some are sitting back here behind me. And fast forward a few years, I turned 15, and we had a catastrophic barn fire on our farm. And some of those friends, just behind me here, and several more that aren't here, came and helped us build back that barn. And that always meant so much to me and epitomized what Pulaski County is and who we are. And I felt that way for several years. And the current division seems to counteract that feeling, but why did they help us? I believe they had something written in their hearts. It was love thy neighbor as thyself. Fast forward a few more years, it was 2020. I now have a wife, I now have children, I have a job. My job says I have to move to St. Louis, Missouri to keep my job. I can't. Pulaski County is my home. I love where I live. I love the people. I love the people that helped me build my family, build the barn back. I said no. I'm thankful for the job I have now. Wearing the hat. The reason I stayed is because I knew love thy neighbor as thyself. Still part of who I was and who our county was. How far have we fallen from that? Do we still have love thy neighbor written on our hearts? I challenge everyone here tonight. When you lay in bed tonight, open your heart and look. Look inside. Do you still love your neighbor? Everyone tonight, I know there's commissioners are here. There's a lot of leaders here tonight. And I want to make a commitment. I've already been doing this, but I want to tell you all that I want to be praying for you every day. And I want to share a Bible verse before I'm done here. He says, this is Apostle Paul talking to Timothy. I exhort therefore that first of all, supplications, prayers, intercessions, and giving of thanks be made for all men, for kings, and for all that are in authority, that we may lead a quiet and peaceable life in all godliness and honesty. For this is good and acceptable in the sight of God our Savior, who will have all men to be saved and to come unto the knowledge of the truth. But there is one God and one mediator between God and men, the man Jesus Christ, who gave himself a ransom for all, to be testified in due time. I hope we can all look inside and know that we do love our neighbor. And Silas wants to share something.
What will my future look like? You may be thinking, what does a kid know about solar? I'd like to think that my perspective is considered, respected, and possibly even the most important, because what is happening now affects my future. When my parents told me that one day our home could be surrounded by solar panels, I couldn't believe it. Who would want to grow up looking at solar panels? I'd say goodbye to the days watching the beautiful, lush cornfields blowing in the wind, matching my height to the stalk size with my brothers. I'd say goodbye to the farmer man, waving as he passed by, taking one more round at harvest time. I'd say goodbye to the adventures across the field to explore the muddy ditch with my brother. Imagine it all, soon to be replaced with large, ugly black glass, filling our land with all kinds of chemicals, and the rest of my childhood robbed from me. The thought makes me sad. I can't imagine growing up in a place like that. I can't imagine staying here and raising my future family if solar panels came to stay. I may just be a simple, homeschool country boy, but I know one thing's for sure. What they call progress isn't always best, and solar panels were not meant to be here. It's not the future that I want to see for me or for Pulaski County, and I'm going to do everything in my power to help keep them away so I can grow up in a county that we all know and love. Thank you.
Thank you, Silas.
Others?
Good evening. My name is Darrell Goodman, live about a mile away from here. And I spoke at the commissioner meeting after the first of the year, and I asked a few questions. And I'm gonna ask that same question at this time, just to see, and I am a landowner, and I'm against solar. So, I asked the commissioners at that meeting, where the solar farms were gonna be located, and if you would be transparent to be able to give us maps of where those are gonna be, so that, I mean, certain people wanna plan what they're gonna do in the county, and I think that would be a good idea. The other thing I asked was, how many total acres are signed up for solar in Pulaski County? And not only that, is there a limit to the number of acres that are gonna be allowed to sign up in Pulaski County? And I feel if we don't know those answers, why are we continuing on to this? It's not the wild, wild west. We ought to know. We ought to know those things. And I'm gonna try to make this quick, guys. And this is something I wanna do, and maybe I can talk to Jenny or Don after the meeting. I'd like to go tour, and I wanna ask you, have you guys toured a large solar farm? Have you gone and seen it? Have you talked to the people around the solar farm, how that affects and I wanna do that. I really, really wanna do that. What about the noise pollution? I listened to, I'm not gonna go into it very much, but there are issues with noise pollution. There are issues with fire protection. I know Mike said, well, we're 20 miles or 20 minutes away from Grissom Air Force Base, that they can take care of that. Well, I know personally that the fire chief of West Lafayette, and they had a Tesla. I mean, he was telling me about it. I don't know whether he dealt with it, but it took 30,000 gallons to put the Tesla out. He says that's the same amount that it takes us to put out a house fire. So there are some ramifications here that we need to have answers to before we really go on with some of these things. We need to do more research. Another impact that I think, and I'm not gonna go into it, but what about the wildlife? When you fence all this off and you're gonna funnel all these wildlife into certain areas, what's that effect gonna be? What's that gonna be on the cropland? What's that gonna be on the wildlife themselves? And I had an old landlord, and he was on the west side of 39. And I used to love to talk to him because he knew the history of Pulaski County, Stark County, and I stayed up with him till 1 o'clock one night, 10 o'clock other nights, because I loved hearing about that. And one of the things that he said, you know, he grew up he knew my dad, they were both the same age. And they started working together for 18 cents an hour at the county highway department, you know, when they were the first jobs off the farm. One of the things he said is, going through the Depression, going through World War II, all those things, he said, everybody was poor, but we didn't know it. And I sure want to see that attitude in Pulaski County again. Are we concerned about the small landowner like what's U.S.D.A back there? It really fires me up. If these people there's big families moving out of Pulaski County right now. If you want solar, you want it on your back doorstep, like what U.S.D.A's gonna see? I don't think so. And that's not fair. What about kids coming back from, you know, are they gonna be coming back to Pulaski County because of the huge solar farms? I don't think so. And lastly here, I think we need a moratorium till we get things figured out. And that's my thing. Thank you for letting me talk.
Thank you. Anyone else at this time? Anyone else?
Bob Barber, I'm from Pulaski County, and the first thing I want to say is the solar people lied to us. I've been coming to all the meetings, and they didn't say nothing. They told us there wouldn't be no batteries. That's the first thing they told us, there would not be no batteries. Now, all of a sudden, they're lying to us and saying they gotta have batteries. You know, and which is it? I mean, are they lying to the people that they signed their agreements with? I mean, come on, I mean, it's not right what they're doing. And the people that's signing these, are they putting it in their own front yard or everybody else's front yard? I mean, there's different ways of looking at it, talking about teams, this team and that team. That's not what Pulaski County's about. I mean, I don't remember it that way. And I remember when you used to go up to the restaurant and hear the farmer saying, I got 225 acres this year. No, well, I got 230. You don't hear that no more. That's gonna be a thing of the past. But they don't go up there and brag, I got so much money for solar, and I got more than that. Well, no, because they're dealing under the table. And people hasn't figured that out yet, evidently, because it's wrong what they're doing. I mean, if they're lying to us, they're probably lying to them too, and they just don't know it yet. And when it happens, it's too late. That's really all I got to say. I just don't think, I want our county to be like it was. I mean, and it's not now. Everybody's not speaking like they used to, and it's wrong.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Ross Davis, Pulaski County resident. This piggybacks on a couple things. Here and there I'll talk about moratorium and things we're not talking about moratoriums. But we know a moratorium is to put a pause on what's happening. The U.S. continues to need more electricity every year. If these projects are viable, then we aren't missing anything by putting a pause on what's happening. Once we assess the current scope of the projects, there will still be opportunity to grow this industry in the future. The demand is obviously there, and the cards are in our favor, but we should pause it, learn from it, and then address it in the future. So, let's move forward with the moratorium. Thank you.
Thank you. Others?
My name is Teresa Hansen, and I live over by Francisville. And what I have tonight is just called Setting the Record Straight, and it's from Mammoth Solar. And many of the landowners have signed this. And so I was asked to bring it and pass it out to you. And this just has to do with the things that Commissioner Knebel did say at the last meeting. And it's about forming a solar project committee where you talked about getting two from this side and two from that side to get together and talk. Moratorium with no end date. Concerns about decommissioning the solar panels. Claims the private sector isn't addressing the recycling. And some of the other things you talked about, the property values. This was information that was given to me by Ed Baptista, he's the vice president of Mammoth Solar. So they did give that information. And as far as them not letting you know what's going on, they'll be happy to give a report. It's just every time they say anything, everybody says, oh, that's a lie, they're lying. They will come with facts. They will be happy to. I know that you all have a site, Pulaski County Against Solar, where you make comments on there and how you guys run everything down. Is that in your best interest to be on that site as a commissioner? Is that not a conflict of interest for you to be on there standing up for that site? What about the rest of the county that you are a commissioner for, ma'am? I'm just asking, is that a good site for you to be on when we are all depending on you to be a commissioner for our county? It's just something to think about. We will bring information. Mammoth Solar will start keeping everyone up to date. We don't want it to be a site where they're jumping onto everything that's being said. They will come with facts. But it needs to be a site where they can put their facts down, where every single thing they say is not being jumped on and they're being called liars. They will be happy to come with the facts that they have if they're given a chance. And yes, this has been hard. I have neighbors and friends here who don't speak to us, don't talk to us at church, don't wave at us anymore. This is tough. But this is our land, and we did make this decision. But this has been really hard on us. It's sad to see your neighbors going down the road who don't wave to you, who don't talk to you, who you've been friends with your whole life. So don't think we didn't think about this. This is what's good for our family. And I'm sorry if other people don't like it, but this is what we need for our children and our grandchildren. So please, let us have a chance to speak too. Yes, it's terrible, it's tearing this county apart, but we do need to all come back together, like Mr. Messer said. This is getting out of hand, and people are acting ridiculous. So people need to grow up, and we need to work together. And I think as leaders, we need to set a good precedent for everybody and not just one side. Please, we're counting on you. We are all counting on you. You got into office. Please lead us the right way. It doesn't have to be our way or their way. It needs to be for everybody. It's killing us. It's upsetting everybody. Please, think about it. Thank you.
Can I respond just briefly to that? Please? Thank you. Thank you. And I appreciate that, Terry. I was elected, very well elected, to represent Pulaski County. I don't think anyone doubted my concerns. I ran to protect property rights for every person in Pulaski County. Every person. And I've spoken about property rights before, and I believe what one person does on their property can have an impact on another. And if we look at the law, it does, and that is why we have zoning, that if what you do on your property has some type of impact, and I believe it does, based on my research, then we have to be careful. We can't trample on the property rights of other people. I have not, and I want you guys who are contracted or leased or whatever with Mammoth Solar, the ones that are already here, I'm not saying anything in regards to those projects. Those projects are here. Please understand that. I understand that. And I'm bringing the county back together as well. Those are approved. Those are permitted. I am looking at moving forward. This county is at almost 30,000 acres in leases. And at some point, as commissioners, Our responsibility to this county is to protect the whole county. And when I go from one office to another and I ask for updates, where are we? What is this gonna look like? What will the economic impacts be to our county by removing this much land from agriculture? I'm not getting answers. No one in the county has that answer. My concern is if we continue as an open book and we say, give it to the state, let the state handle it. Folks, we're gonna destroy our county. We will destroy Pulaski County. There's no way around it, I don't think. That's my opinion, based on 4.5 years of research. But I was elected to be a voice for everyone in the county, and I have to do that. I need to protect everyone, and that is what I am trying, that's right. Everyone, yes.
All right.
You've already, you're there, you're good.
All right, is there, excuse me, we have made the announcement that we allow people to speak once. Is there, I appreciate the respect and dignity that has been shown among everyone this evening, and we must continue that. Obviously, there's differences, but we have to be civil to one another. We will, I was asked about the bill. These are public comments. These aren't, and we take it into consideration. But the House bill, I will answer that. I do oppose it because it doesn't give an opportunity for the different jurisdictions to talk amongst each other, either the elected officials or the people that live in that area. So for example, if it was a Stark Pulaski project and they went across county lines, I do believe that Pulaski and Stark County should be at the table with that, however it's written up. And I do believe the Senate bill is kind of on hold with that. I believe that was Senator Cook, so now it's in the representatives' hands with that. So we appreciate the dignity and respect that everyone's been given this evening. Tonight, we have called an executive session. An executive session is for those individuals only. It's dealing with personnel issues. And that was scheduled to be at 6:45. We appreciate everyone and your comments that you have made this evening. So we'll have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that. Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye.